Hello everybody. I just wanted to talk ever so briefly about the My Tech integration page that's on your wiki. It's not necessarily a formal assignment. Well, it is an assignment, but it's not really a single thing that's due at a given moment. It's due as part of the final portfolio, which is due in around April 20th or 22nd or something. Check the course plan. But the purpose of this page is to kind of give you kind of a single page that is a takeaway page that, you know, if you forget what you've done this semester and some of the things you've learned, which we all do when we take classes, a lot of it's in one ear out the other. Well, this page is sort of designed to help you focus on a few key things that you might have picked up during the semester. So it's got just a few questions on it, and it's way more intimidating looking than it really is. So I'm going to go over the pieces of it ever so quickly and try to just encourage you to begin working on it. One question on the page asks, the very first question says, what forces put pressures on schools and teachers to integrate technology? Now you've read the Roblier Chapter 1 and the Roblier Chapter 2 in this class already, at least in the beginning of the semester you've done that. You could go review those chapters just if you can't think of anything at all. Review those chapters. It will cover it, especially in the Chapter 1 of Roblier. Also, the Prensky discussion. Prensky is putting pressure on schools and teachers. And who does he represent? What industries does he represent? What interests does he represent? You might think about the Prensky article. Go revisit that. That was from a discussion a few modules back. In Module 3, you're about to read about a school district in Mooresville, North Carolina, and there have been pressures put on that school district to integrate technology. I think the superintendent led that charge in the school district, but if you read carefully, you might be able to discern some other pressures coming from perhaps the market, like the Apple company is inside of the schools. They, have struck a deal with the school district. So I want you to be continuing to think about that from now through the end of the semester and write just a nice little paragraph about some of the pressures that are put on schools and teachers, who's doing that, what people and organizations do you think are pressuring schools and teachers. So I want you to have a little answer to that. What are the pros and cons of technology integration? That's the second question. So I want you to be just inputting just a list on each side as you continue. So you might take this opportunity this week in this module to just jot down 5 pros and 5 cons that you've seen so far. Again, the resources that I just mentioned have lots of pros and cons listed, as do the articles that we're reading in the discussions. And so I just want you to make sure that you're sort of attending to these questions as you move along. Again, you have to the end of the semester to do this page, but you want to take a moment here and just jot some stuff down, and then you can refine it again in a month or something. All right, and then there's a question, what are the essential conditions that I can influence? So in your role as a teacher or a speech language pathologist, there's only so much that you can do. There is something you can do. You have control over a piece of the school environment. It's a smallish piece, but it is a piece nonetheless. And if you neglect to control that piece, a lot of harm can be done. So your role is very important, and it's important that you attend to, managing your classroom properly. So there's some areas where you have power, and there's some areas, though, where you don't. So I want you to read about the list of essential conditions from the ISTE website. I've provided a link here, and I want you to look at the ones and think about the conditions that you're able to influence and control, and just kind of write about that there. So that's something you could do this module, or you could wait a few more modules if you want till the final portfolio. But that is a question I want you to address. Sometimes I think when you're being pressured to do things like integrate technology, you think, oh my gosh, I have to, there's only so much I can do. And I think that this list of essential conditions is a little bit comforting in that it acknowledges that, teachers can only do so much. The system that you're in has to step up as well and provide support and resources and things like that for technology integration to be lasting and positive in your school and in your classroom. All right, the last section on this page is called Technology Integration Strategies. And this came from Roblier Chapter 2. I don't think I put the page numbers in here. But if you go into Roblier Chapter 2, you'll see that there's a couple pages of what she calls Technology Integration Strategies. And the first group, the blue group here, are the directed strategies. So those that sort of conform to direct kinds of teaching methods. The second group is refers to constructivist teaching methods, where you kind of let students figure things out. The third group is what Roblier refers to as mixed teaching strategies. So all you have to do, because you've been doing a little bit of research this semester about different technologies you can use in your situation, all you have to do is choose one of the directed strategies and name a tool, whether it's a website or it's a technology tool. Maybe it's mostly going to be software, not so much hardware, but hardware might be listed as well. I want you to name a tool and provide a link out to more information about it on the web. One per area. So that means you just have to find 3 tools. One example of a tool to support one of these direct instruction strategies, one to support one of the constructivist strategies for your situation, and one to support sort of a mixed strategy. Okay? That's all you have to do. So in that 4th column, type the name of the tool and highlight it and link out to it. And I didn't ask you to really talk about it a whole lot. So really I just want you to find a tool that you think supports that given strategy. So for example, maybe you found something in your area to promote skill fluency and automaticity. That's the directed tool number 2. Well, in that 4th column, you're going to type the name of that tool, highlight it, and link out to more information about it, whether that more information is a YouTube how-to video, how to use it, or maybe it's the website associated with that tool, or it's an article that you found that explains it, or a teacher blog where a teacher's talking about how he or she uses that particular item in her classroom. So it's just, I want you to just demonstrate that you're thinking about this and that you're aware of these different sort of strategies for integrating technology in your classroom. So that's it for this page. It's again more intimidating looking than it really is. And I urge you to begin working on it now rather than saving it for the end, because it will be more meaningful. I think you'll get a little more out of the class. These are just some of the big ideas of this class. And if you just hustle it together at the end, you know how that is. Like if your own students just throw something together at the end, it really does become an in one ear, out the other type of thing. Whereas I think if you're doing it as you go, a little more thoughtfully, it'll become more of a takeaway, and I think that you'll derive more value from the class, just a little more. All right, so let me know if you have any questions about this page, and start tackling it. All right, thanks.